Morning, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, and I am here in Tierrasanta, a community in San Diego. I believe this is one of the Shepherd's Canyons. I know Rueda Canyon and Shepherd Canyons are all in this general vicinity, just west of Mission Trails Regional Park. There's a Tierrasanta Recreation Center. It's a park with ball fields and stuff like that. So I think this is one of the Shepherd's Canyons, but I'm not 100% sure. I believe this is one of the Shepherd's Canyons. So again, there's a school over here and the park over there. Now I'm just going to go explore around and see what kind of hidden treasures are in this little canyon. It looks pretty neat. Got some beautiful river red gums right here, Eucalyptus camaduensis. Got a nice little stand of them down here. Of course, they're not native. They're native to a huge chunk of Australia, but they do very well in our climate because some of our climates are quite similar. There's a scrub oak in there. Huh. And then also along this trail down here, some incredible toyons. Beautiful, lush toyons. The heteromales are budifolia and the pomes are ripening. Beautiful, lush toyons over here. Nice. Really nice. Ooh, here we go with the scrub oak action again. Quercus dumosa. Oh yeah, this is a nice one. There's some nice scrub oaks over here, actually. There might be an acutidens in there too, perhaps. Okay. Well, since there seem to be quite a few people coming along this way, maybe if I follow this over from whence they came, maybe I'll get an interpretive sign of what the name of this canyon is. There's a beautiful scrub oak right here. Still got lots of acorns on them. This one kind of looks intermediate between Quercus dumosa and Quercus acutidens. So I'm not so confident about this beautiful scrub oak here. All I know and all I really care about is it's beautiful. So yeah, this is all a woodland of Eucalyptus camaduensis. Up there, where's the park, is actually a stand of Eucalyptus clavicalix, another Australian native but with a much smaller distribution. I believe in generally the South Australia region. These guys are from the lion's share of the Australian landmass. There's a pretty little spot over here. Yeah, native plants are really holding their own against these non-native eucalyptus trees very nicely, I may add. Twines and scrub oaks here grow like there's nothing. There's a big scrub oak over there. Ooh, big one here too. Wow. Wow, some of these scrub oaks are quite impressive over here. Walk this way. Yeah, most of these appear to be Quercus dumosa, coastal scrub oak. Usually the smallest leaves of the scrub oaks, usually. Nice little woodland right here. Here's a much larger scrub oak right here. Ooh, a little mini pathway to get over here. Ooh, there's a little side trail here. Okay. I'll get a little taste of this little miniature scrub oak forest right here. Kind of like in Tecolote Canyons, east side. Just gonna go a short little distance in here. Kind of peters out here, but beautiful little scrub oak forest over here. Wow. I love these little scrub oak groves. They're just really cool. Yeah, so you'll notice I'm still uploading a steady stream of videos from the previous week. I have a lot of videos to go. Just started uploading them a couple days ago, but I got a lot of video from last week's vacation. Spent most of it in Santa Barbara County and some in Ventura County, so there'll be a lot more videos coming up. So I'm not planning on doing a huge video set today because I got so much to upload. It's kind of unreal. I recorded a lot of video last week. Here's another massive scrub oak right here. So today is kind of a smaller video set. Just want to appreciate the local flavor, as I don't feel like driving hundreds of miles again like last week. Eucalyptus trees are beautiful here too. You know me, I like trees, period. So, of course, I'm gonna appreciate the non-natives. Let's go back that way, back to near where I started the video. There's this little spot called Dishwater Pond. There are a bunch of cattail plants growing out of it. Some of these Eucalyptus condylensis trees, these river red gums, are quite impressive. Here's another scrub oak, almost with intermediate characteristics. This is probably dumosa. Quite the enchanted little woodland here. Some pepper trees growing in here too. That's a beautiful little spot. Digging it. Of course, with the eucalyptus trees here, and of course the native coastal sage scrub and chaparral, it does smell very nice over here. But here, especially the eucalyptus, it's a very nicely packed little forest here. Some of these eucalyptus trees might be approaching 100 feet tall. very impressive. Very impressive, actually. I think this leads out to the road. Then I'm going to go head the other way. Really big lemonade sumac. Very tall one. Wow. I think the interpretive signs are over there. So I'm gonna head over there. Just verify what canyon this really is. And I'll go check out this Eucalyptus cladocalyx forest. We're in a cooler weather pattern, but sure is balmy today. It's kind of sticky out. Yeah, I gotta admit, most of October, the weather for a nice chunk of the month was actually quite nice. Not gonna lie, sometimes October can be really hot. And we had a few of those days, but this isn't bad. Now we're in November, just barely. Let's see. Oh, man. No. There's this sign again. Camp Elliott back in around 80 years ago. Yeah, there's no interpretive sign. I think, again, this is one of the Shepherd's Canyons, so I'll look it up and throw the name on the screen. It's like knowing more what the name is. Ooh, matchweed. I believe this is Gutierrezia californica. There's also Gutierrezia cyrothri. I think this one's californica. I think that's the one that's more common here, but we do have at least two matchweed species here. Small subshrub, semi-woody bases. So let's go ahead over this way. This trail kind of winds its way around that way. Ooh. Little spiny redberry. This is an older one right here. This is Rhamnus crocea. Quite a nice looking specimen too, I may add. Head over this way. Take a look at this Eucalyptus cladocalyx grove. That's most of what's on that side of the canyon rim over there. It's mostly Eucalyptus cladocalyx. Actually, I think exclusively Eucalyptus cladocalyx up there. It's a nice little forest. When I first entered the park, I went around the ball fields to enter the canyon, so I was hiking along the rim of it for a little while. And then found a use trail to dip down to the canyon bottom, and that was actually a very nice luscious stand of Eucalyptus cladocalyx. And those trees can get quite large. They seem to get well over 100 feet here in San Diego. That's not bad for a non-native tree that comes from a different part of the world. It really finds its niche growing here. These are all cladocalyx trees right here. I think you have that kind of brownish yellow and gray splotchy bark, and real puffy when they get much older and much bigger, like the ones by Balboa Park. They get these real puffy crowns that are like that, kind of puffy sprays of branches. That's usually how I can tell a Cladocalix from a far distance away. Quite a cool little park. This right here, I wonder if this is this Acacia cyclops, or could this be Acacia melanoxylon, which would be a blackwood acacia? I've seen Acacia cyclops, cyclops wattle. It's usually a large, very large spreading shrub, and then blackwood acacia is a tree that has similar leaves, quote unquote. Let's go back to that for a second before I admire this guy here. I want to mention something about the foliage of these wattles. Now we look at these here, and we look at them and we say, interesting leaves. These are actually called phyllodes. They look like regular leaves. They basically function like regular leaves, so why are they not just called leaves? Well, they're kind of like modified leaves or leaf stalks, because when these type of wattles or acacias germinate, they actually have their regular compound leaves, pinnately or bipinnately compound leaves, and that's their juvenile foliage when they first sprout. So like a lot of the acacias in Africa and some of the related plants here in the southwest, especially Senegalia, they have compound leaves which are small and finely divided. But these guys here, the wattles from Australia, a lot of them have these, and these again are called phyllodes. And the leaves start out pinnately or bipinnately compound on younger shoots, younger than this little guy here, and then eventually they turn into these singular phyllodes. So it's like a modified leaf structure. So it's not, I mean, it's so much like a leaf. It's kind of complicated. You know how things have to be complicated a lot of times in botany. Lemonade sumac, Rusa tegrifolia.
We've done that a few times.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's the third time, maybe. Twice in person.
Pretty impressive. That's some nice trunk. Nice tree-like trunk on it. We do have some nice lemonade sumacs down here too. But look at that. Look at these Cladocalix trees. Oh man. Like I said, there's some very, very, very picturesque specimens planted throughout the county. Planted throughout most of coastal and nearby inland Southern California. And some of them get very, very large compared to our other street trees that are usually under 60, 70 feet tall. See, these well over 100 feet tall. These ones aren't quite that tall, but there are some quite impressive specimens here in San Diego County and Southern Orange County. And there's some quite nice ones where I used to live. Now, speaking of impressive specimens, you know I'm going to point them out when I'm here in my local canyons. Here's a very large lemonade sumac trunk right here. This is absolutely breathtaking. Now this is what I call Rusa tegrifolia. Look at the size of that. Absolutely amazing. This is a big one. Wow, this is incredibly beautiful. I love when they get outsized. Well, I guess you really can't say they're outsized. They're by nature quite large shrubs. They just happen to sometimes get very, very large. Here's another wattle. I don't know if this might be something different. Look at the phyllodes on this wattle here. Be right back in clip number 2. Hello, this is Brian again. So I was talking about these phyllodes on this wattle. If you're paying attention, or if you saw video 1 or clip number 1, that these phyllodes are modified leaf structures. Instead of full leaves, they basically fill the function of leaves. But the phyllodes are quite long and narrow on this wattle here. I'm not exactly sure what type of wattle that is. And a wattle is an acacia that grows native in Australia. So here we are, this beautiful Clairemont grove coming up towards the street. The park where I'm at, where I parked, just over that way a little bit, is on Clairemont Mesa Blvd here in Tierrasanta. So here in this beautiful eucalyptus Clairemont forest here, it does give you quite an Australian feel to it. So again, brownish to golden yellow bark, mottled with gray, shades of gray. And these are the seed capsules of Eucalyptus Clairemont, kind of urn-shaped, kind of similar to Carimbia species, which are another type of eucalypt, very closely related to eucalyptus. But beautiful stately trees here. However, we do have another species in the mix here. Now, earlier clip over that way is Eucalyptus comodolensis forest. Now we're in Eucalyptus Clairemont forest, but we do have another eucalyptus species mixed in here, and this is red ironbark, Eucalyptus sideroxylon, also called in Australia mugga mugga, M-U-G-G-A, M-U-G-G-A. So this is mugga mugga, or red ironbark, and they're probably a little more stunted here in the shade of these Clairemont trees, but red ironbark, you can tell why, because the inside of the furrows kind of have a reddish brown hue to them. So that's why we call it red ironbark. On their own, they can get to be at least 50 to 70 feet tall. I don't know how large they get in Australia where they're native, but it's quite impressive, I have to say. The rest of this forest here is actually beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, I do love eucalyptus forests, even though they're not native trees. I just like forest, period. You take it or you can get it. So this is, yeah, there are a couple other red ironbarks mixed in here too. See that one right there? That's a red ironbark, and that one's starting to get kind of tall. It's probably about 50 feet tall already. But the ones that are growing more out in the open tend to have wider trunks on them. I wonder if that'll tell us what canyon this is. A beautiful tree. Clairemont. You can tell these are very young trees. Trees have very small, thin trunks. So you can surmise that these are very fast-growing trees. Clairemont is a very fast-growing tree. Eucalyptus comodolensis down the way is another very fast-growing tree. I believe sideroxylon probably is too. I haven't really observed it too much, but I've had seedling Eucalyptus Clairemont before, and they do grow very quickly. If I didn't have them pot-bound, these are the ones I germinated in 2017. I don't have them anymore. They eventually died. But if I had planted them like in 2019 or so, they'd probably be about 15 or more feet tall if I had land to plant them. Absolutely beautiful specimens here. Beautiful. There's a sign over here. Yeah, I'm very fond of eucalyptus trees. Grew up with them, living here in the coastal side of Southern California, so you get to see them a lot. Back then, I knew about then as a kid, before I was 13 or so. I used to know about Eucalyptus sideroxylon, Eucalyptus globulus, and I think Eucalyptus comodolensis. Very nice. I was right, East Shepherd Canyon. I had a feeling it was East Shepherd. I was right. That's confirmation now. So I'm going to start heading back this way. Maybe explore the other side a little bit. Such an impressive young eucalyptus there. Probably at least 75 or more feet tall already. I'm probably older than, I'm 40 years old, so I'm probably older than this tree. I'd be almost willing to bet money on it. Wow, what an incredible tree. Incredible tree. So yep, East Shepherd Canyon. There's that red ironbark. I might be older than this tree too. I would assume these probably grow pretty quickly too, but some species grow at absolutely astronomical rates. So yeah, let's go check out the Dishwater Pond area and then head more of in a relatively westerly direction to see some of the other spots. There's one canyon nearby that had the sycamore trees well into their fall color already. They usually take quite a while to get their color. There's a tree across the street. I think it's either a bald cypress or a metasequoia. I think it's a bald cypress. It's changing orange right now. It's that tree right there in the center. I don't know. I'm tempted to go take a look at it. I think it might be a bald cypress. You can grow bald cypress trees here, and they're in the cypress family, like your typical cypress. Though they're in a different genus. They're not Cupressus or Hesperus cyparis. They're in the genus Taxodium. That'd probably be Taxodium disticum. And even here in Southern California, it's one of the relatively few deciduous conifers you'll see growing here in Southern California. It's one of the relatively few deciduous conifers, meaning shedding their leaves in fall, that you're going to find, period. when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, living in Anaheim, I remember I belonged to the National Arbor Day Foundation, and they would send me free trees periodically. And I remember I'd gotten some bald cypresses, had them for a few years, and they would turn brownish orange in the fall, even here in warm lowland SoCal. It was kind of neat to have, and they'd go deciduous and shed their leaves in fall and be leafless in the winter. Those are pretty cool to have, not gonna lie. There's a little bit of water down here. I didn't notice this on the way in, so I love it when I come out of a spot. I go do the return trip, and then I end up noticing stuff I missed on the way in. It's always good. You know, being somebody like me really enjoys nature, whether it's out in the wilderness or in the middle of suburbia like this. It's just really cool the things you can find, sometimes even along the roads of the city, especially if you're really into plants. Here's another Australian non-native plant, not related to any eucalyptus, but it's actually related to some of our native salt bushes. This is called Australian saltbush right here. This is Atriplex semibacata. You can see the little orange specks on it are the little berry-like fruits. And if you look at them carefully, they kind of look like half berries. That's what semibacata comes from. So it's a small, low-growing perennial plant, not native here. Again, it's native to Australia, but it is related to the larger shrub salt bushes that grow here. So that's Atriplex semibacata. And the trails of Shepherd Canyon. So I'm going to go back this way. So I'm about ready. I'm leaving the Eucalyptus cladocalyx grove, ready to head back into the Camaldulensis grove right here. And here's a very large lemonade sumac right here. Here's a very impressive specimen right here. It's hard to, you can't even get the whole thing in the frame. This is a beautiful Rus integrifolia. Wow, this is an impressive specimen. Very tall, very widespread. And like other plants in the genus Rus integrifolia being this one, these are next year's flower buds. So plants in the genus Rus typically preform their flower buds. And of course there's a little laurel sumac mixing in here, Melisma laurina, which is a relative of lemonade sumac. It used to be Rus laurina back in the day. This is a dope little spot. Not gonna lie, I'm enjoying this mix of Aussie trees, these beautiful Camaldulensis. These are some really good specimens. When I was on vacation last week, we were driving through Ojai. The Ojai area in Ventura County and parts of Santa Barbara have huge eucalyptus. Huge. Probably like 150 feet tall. Morning. So if you ever go through Ojai and Santa Barbara, some of the eucalyptus Camaldulensis trees are humongous. Huge trunks, huge multi-trunk trees. They're just absolutely humongous. Probably about 150 feet tall, some of them. Some of these are probably about 100 feet tall. There's a nice stand of Coast Cholla on the other side up there on the sunny side of a canyon. It's a nice stand of it actually. Some prickly pear, some coastal sage grub. This feels like a wonderland to me. Oh, and this toyon here. This is a big toyon. This is a very tall toyon. That right there is the top of it, or one of the, actually, the highest branch I think is over there. Wow. Doesn't have any extraordinarily large trunks. I mean, not that that matters, but just enjoy how tall that toyon is. There's some great specimens here. Here's another really big scrub oak. And a Brazilian pepper tree. Scinis terebinthifolius. This one doesn't look so healthy. This one's in decline. Some of these other ones are quite sparse. I know there's been an insect attacks on a lot of the Eucalyptus comodulensis trees here in Southern California. A leaf psyllid or something like that. Some kind of insect that's been ravaging them. I mean, a lot of times Eucalyptus comodulensis can be quite sparse in some areas where it's drier. But it's weird how dramatically different Eucalyptus comodulensis bark can be. Usually branches and smaller trunks are usually light colored, mixtures of brownish, grayish, cream, and then on some trunks it's flaky and furrowed. That's one thing about comodulensis. Wow, this is a beautiful canyon. I think on the other side I'll be more focused on native plants, but not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this walk through a eucalyptus forest, or woodland. It's probably more of a woodland, but semantics. Yeah, some of these scrub oaks are huge. The other thing I'm really digging, sizes. Look at this lemonade sumac. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Look at that. Wow. Oh, snap. Wow, some of these lemonade sumacs are really impressive here. Oh, boy. Oh, wow. There's our little scrub oak woodland over here, a little scrub oak forest. Very nice stand of it. This is a north facing slope right here. I love these little scrub oak groves because they're just so cool. There's some big ones in here too though. Some of these are quite impressive. I remember scrub oak is typically a shrub oak. Not the huge valley oaks we have from LA, northern LA County, up through the valleys. But for a shrub oak, these scrub oaks are very impressive. Yeah, the Tierrasanta area is pretty nice. I've been through here a couple times as a kid because I lived in nearby Clairemont, which is to the west of here. But I think I'm going to be spending more time in these canyons too because there's a lot here I've never explored. There's a humongous eucalyptus over there. You know, I'm always changing the subject. It's kind of hard not to be distracted by all the awesomeness around here. But I think it's about time for me to change batteries, and I'll see you further along the trail. More on the other side though. So here we are over by Dishwater Pond here in East Shepherd Canyon. Some kind of generator or something over here. what that exactly is. But I'm starting to get some fall color on some of these Gooding's black willows. Here's Dishwater Pond. I passed by this when I first got here. Didn't really spend too much time here. Didn't really see much of anything popping off over here. Well, of course, you know, thinking about amphibians and stuff like that. But you can see so many cattails growing here. I think these are southern cattails, Typha domingensis. I'm pretty sure that's what the species of cattails growing here are. Pretty impressive tall ones too. Yeah, here's Salix Goodingi. Starting to rust off a little bit. Actually, it's more of a rust than a leaf color change. I was thinking the leaves are changing yellow. There's some rust on the leaves. Now, willows usually change their leaves later anyways. Yeah, kind of look up close. It's not really leaf color change. I was thinking that's what it was at first. There's some nice Gooding black willows over here too. That leaves up, I believe it's Playa Veracruz, I think is the name of that street. So now here we are. I came down from over there where that eucalyptus grove is. That's a beautiful Gooding black willows here. We've got some cottonwoods periodically showing up around here too. Fremont cottonwoods are very much native here. They're not very rare, that's either, for sure. They're definitely not rare. I think willows are a little more common, but here's a beautiful toyon right here. Look at this. Oh man, fruits are ripening on them right now. They're pretty much ripened now. They'll probably last for a little while. But usually between November and Christmas, anywhere from, depending on the individual plant, late October through December. And a lot of times toyons will produce quite abundant pomes on them. Those little beautiful red pomes that make up such a cheerful display. And I've mentioned in other videos, but toyon is a fairly close relative of the apple, the pear, the quince. So the fruit, just like on apples, pears, and quinces, are pomes, cored fruits with seeds in the middle of the core. There's a very, very nice old Broombaccharis right here. I know I did a spotlight on this one recently. Very nice. Oh, here's a Quercus acutidens. Quercus acutidens. Okay. Tory scrub oak. There's the first coast live oak I've seen today. It's a nice young vigorous tree, looking very luscious and healthy. Here's one out on the open slope that doesn't look so healthy, pretty sparse. I'm assuming that's a coast live oak. Yeah, it is. You can tell by the cup shape, the cupping of the leaves. There we go. Western or Fremont cottonwood. Populus fremontii, of course. I noticed that the cottonwoods. See, I take the 52, California 52 freeway to get out here from where I live in Santee. I notice a lot of the ones closer to where I live are really changing color. There's a lot of golden yellow showing up along the San Diego River, along the 52, towards getting closer to the El Cajon Valley. The nights there get a little bit cooler than they do here in on the west side of the Fortuna Mountain and Coles Mountain area. Here's a beautiful Italian stone pine. I see these a lot in the canyons. I see Italian stone pines a lot. Just random Italian stone pines just randomly out there in the middle of usually a fairly well-developed native ecosystem. And then here we get a random Pinus pinea. Random Italian stone pine. Quite lovely young tree. Starting to develop that oval-shaped crown that these trees are known for. I'm trying to see if I saw a cone somewhere. Just gonna take a look at it and just double make sure, because sometimes Aleppo pines can be quite irregularly shaped. I saw a cone. Yeah, it's definitely Italian stone pine, I can tell. Italian stone pines have much thicker cone scales, and Aleppo pines have relatively thin cone scales and fairly small cones. Aleppo pines and Italian stone pines are actually closely related. They're in the same lineage. And the same lineage is right there, the Canary Island pine. They're all related fairly closely, actually. Pinus canariensis right there. Yeah, I usually don't see random Canary Island pines out here in the so-called wild. I don't really see them too often established. It's usually Aleppo pines, occasional stone pines. But yeah, Canary Island pine in here too. Yeah, this is a pretty dope canyon. I'm really loving this. I'm also keeping my eyes out for spotlight opportunities, and I've seen a couple. Maybe something I can redo. So I've got a couple spotlight videos that didn't come out so well, like video quality or whatever. I'm keeping some ideas in the back of my head as I tour this really beautiful open space here. Tierrasanta. Detour here. This right here, this wood here on the ground, two guesses for me. Either kind of looks like either blue elderberry bark of one that's been cut down or whatever, or my other guess is these might be very large chunks in the root burl of Broombaccharis. Occasionally I've seen them with trunks close to that size, so jury's kind of out on that, but I'm kind of leaning towards Broombaccharis. Every now and then those shrubs can get enormous. That's a pretty cool canyon here. These suburban canyons really hold a lot of cool little surprises. Some of those willows might be changing color. Yeah, I see some more, less that dusty yellow-orange and more regular yellow. But like I said, there's a lot of riparian space along the 52. You got especially if you get towards Santee, you get a lot of mixed riparian woodland and forest there. There's over in that area, you have a lot of Fremont cottonwood, and I mean a lot of Fremont cottonwood. Populus Fremontii. Then you get a lot of mixed willows like Gooding's willow, Salix goodingi. You get a lot of Arroyo willow, of course, Salix lasiolipus. You get a lot of red willow, Salix laevigata. Probably sandbar willow, Salix exigua. And you also have a very rampant population of California box elder maple, Acer negundo subspecies californicum. A very nice population of box elder maple, and I think a couple of them, I know at least one of them in Mission Trails Regional Park by the Mission Dam Trailhead. There's a nice, beautiful box elder. And box elder is a type of maple. It's one of the very few we have here in. So yeah, there's a very large population of California box elder maple mixing in that riparian forest. Pretty sure there's a lot of desert wild grape there. Probably poison oak. So fall color in there is starting off pretty nicely. Started noticing towards the latter half of October, leaves are starting to change pretty copiously over along the San Diego River, the inland portion of it. Now there's an Aleppo pine right there. So that kind of conical tree right there. As it gets older, it's going to become much more irregular with respect to its crown. It's going to become a lot more irregularly shaped. Pines are very extremely well adapted to our dry climate, and they grow very well in the desert. My friend who lives in Kern County, he lives in the Mojave Desert. Aleppo pines are a dime a dozen there. They do pretty well. What do we got coming up here? Is that a nice set of sumacs over here? Yeah, we got some nice Rus integra folias here too. Looking nice and luscious. Such beautiful shrubs. Yeah, this is a pretty dope canyon. I'm enjoying this little spot. This is a great place to take your family or your dog on a walk, or just take yourself or your buddies. Just explore the beauty of this canyon. There's a very large toyon over there. I'm gonna take a little quick side trip over here. This canyon's got some very nice toyons. Here's one that unfortunately is mostly gone. But I think there's still some shoots coming up from the base, so it hasn't given up the good fight yet. Let's see. Wow, here's a nice big toyon over here. Oh, here's a nice impressive one. Ooh, boy. That's a nice one. A very nice one. Nice. Love it when they get huge. Well, there's one in LA County. I shot some video of it back in 2021. It's a huge toyon with almost tree-sized with really large multiple trunk base. Had some really wide trunks on it too. Absolutely breathtaking specimen. Here's another. This looks like another species of Baccharis. What is this? I don't know. No, this might be something else. I'll have to look that up later. It might be another. It might be a non-native plant. I'll have to double check that one. But yeah, it's along this. It's along this use trail in Peter F. Scabar Regional Park, and it's the canyon. It's a hilly canyon region called Powder Canyon. You're taking the main trail at the bottom of the canyon that follows along the bottom. You'll find this use trail heading up, a very steep use trail, heads up towards the ridgeline. It's a very narrow trail, and you have to look out for poison oak, but it's pretty. Once you get past the Toyon, the poison oak starts getting overgrown, but getting up to the Toyon, it's incredible, because there's a huge Toyon. At the time, it was the largest one I had ever seen. And it might still be, but I went up, I did some video on that. I'll leave a link to that in there, in the upper corner of the screen. But and then in Orange County, in Silverado Canyon, in south central Orange County, the foot of the Santa Ana Mountains, hike up along the paved road called Maple Springs Truck Trail. Eventually turns into dirt about 3.5 miles up. But there was a huge Toyon I only saw in the dark. I couldn't really tell how truly big it was, but it looked like it was a monster. I don't have any video of it though. Here, of course. But yeah, there's a huge Toyon in Silverado Canyon, at least on there. If I ever get back to there, whenever I get back to there, I'll have to take some time and try to find it. I did go down in the daylight. Usually I'm starting my hikes in the dark and ending them in the dark, so I'm passing by it in the dark. But I have to check during the daylight to see if I can find it. It's a huge, big Toyon. Be the largest one I've ever seen. Oh boy. Look at this Eucalyptus cladicalix. Sugar gum is the common name for Eucalyptus cladicalix. Look at the size of this tree. Oh, wow! This thing is huge! Every time I go to one of these different canyons, there's always a surprise. Oh, look at the girth on this tree. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, boy. Oh, man. This tree is massive. This thing is humongous. Oh man. Told you I seen him get big here in San Diego County. This tree has a trunk wider than most of the huge sugar pines I saw near Reyes Peak in the Los Padres National Forest. Wow. What an incredible specimen of Eucalyptus cladicalix. I am completely shook. And here's Comondolensis again. That was a Eucalyptus cladicalix. That thing is enormous. Oh, this thing is huge. It's probably at least 140 feet tall. It's got to be. Incredible. Oh, wow. And then California sycamores entered the chat. Platanus racemosa. And of course, California Rose has entered the chat as well. Beautiful Rosa Californica. Starting to get some leaf change. I've seen Rosa Californica get some nice oranges and some reddish hues, yellow from anywhere from yellow to red. Even down here in the lowlands, I've seen it. This is an enchanted place, I'm telling you. That eucalyptus cladicale, I'm sorry, that thing got me shook for a minute there. I was blown away when I saw that. Amazing tree. Ooh, there's a little water here. Beautiful little riparian sector here. Coming here in late spring would be nice because of all these leafy perennials here. And this is Anamopsis californica, the yerba mansa. In the spring, late spring into summer months with their beautiful white flower bracts and little tiny cone-shaped flower cluster in the middle. Wow, that's a cool little spot. Wow. There's a nice Goodings willow right there. What a beautiful little canyon. This is incredible. And with all the aromatic ragweed here, I think there's some white sweet clover, mule fat. This place smells so sweetly fragrant. Yeah, this is Melolotus albus right here. This is a non-native annual. It's called white sweet clover. Little white flowers right there, which is very commonly found in these canyons. Now we've got a few interpretive signs here. Yeah, good old Toyon. I'm sorry, but that sugar gum, that eucalyptus cladicale, really got me shook. That thing was incredibly huge. Oh, Santo Road, I think. That's the exit I got off on 52, was on Santo Road. I think that's what that is over there. This canyon was taken on as a project by the Girl Scouts. Those are local Girl Scouts troop around here that took up trying to protect and keep this canyon looking nice. I gotta admit, they've done an excellent job. So, big shout out to the nature-loving, what is it? Troop 4851. Good for them. Very good. Good on them. It's good to see. Very good to see. So, the Girl Scout troop has done an amazing job of keeping this canyon looking nice. Lots of garbage cans near the roads to keep people from littering. And I haven't really seen much of any trash in this canyon at all. I'm pleasantly surprised. So, shout out goes to the scout troops that have kept this canyon looking awesome. Yeah, so that's Santo Road, I think. Yeah, Santo Road. So that's the road I got off of on the 52 to get here. And then I just went on Clairemont Mesa Boulevard, headed east, and there it was. So here we are coming out on Santo. Some nice, nice roadside trees here planted as well. Some more sycamores down this way, but here's Santo Road, and a really nice Toyon. another really large Eucalyptus cladicalix, another big sugar gum here. And here's a river red gum, Condolensis. But there's another huge one here. It's probably over 100 feet tall as well. It doesn't have as thick of a trunk as that other one, but some very impressive specimens of Eucalyptus cladicalix growing here. I believe this is an Atlas cedar here. I always have trouble telling Atlas and Deodars apart. I believe this is the blue Atlas cedar, which is a cultivar. So this would be Cedrus atlantica, cultivar glauca. This appears to be, yeah, Cedrus atlantica glauca. Deodar also has a glaucous form with the bluish gray-green leaves too. Right up here. This is a true cedar. Believe it or not, there's been controversy as to what constitute the true cedars. Because cedars, a lot of trees and shrubs in the cypress family have been called cedar, like incense cedar, Port Orford cedar, western red cedar, Alaska cedar, junipers. A lot of junipers are called cedars as well, and some cypresses are sometimes nicknamed cedars. So a lot of people have thought that, okay, the cypress family is the home of the true cedars. Then you have these cedars here, Cedrus, like Cedrus atlantica, Cedrus deodara, Cedrus brevifolia, Cedrus libani, and sometimes libani, deodara, and brevifolia are under subspecies of the deodar, or under the Lebanon cedar. But these are actually in the pine family, the Pinaceae. They're related to pines, Douglas firs, spruces, firs. I think a little more closely allied with firs. And it's a beautiful conifer. We have Cedrus atlantica glauca. The glaucous Atlantic cedar, or Atlas cedar, from the Atlas Mountains in Morocco, northwestern Africa. You get up to at least 200 feet there, I believe. And we got these little curious little trees you see planted in, usually along the sides of roads and business parks. It's these trees here. This is called bottle tree. This is Brachychiton populnaeus. And the name populnaeus comes from the fact that the leaves kind of resemble poplars. This is an Australian tree, of course, but the leaves kind of sometimes resemble poplars. A little bit. And you notice that these trees usually have very smooth grayish bark with some very light furrowing, and then the base of the tree is usually flared a little bit, kind of a little bit like a bottle. And then they have these seed capsules or follicles that split open and release these hairy seeds right here. So this is the seed capsule or follicle of Brachychiton populnaeus. This is quite a commonly planted ornamental tree. Now these leaves don't always look the same. The leaves on Brachychiton populnaeus can be like that, simple. Sometimes they can even be lobed. Let's see if I can get this leaf without this one even has a couple side lobes on it. So there's a variability in the leaf structure of that pretty interesting Aussie tree. And you can hear the leaves rustle very nicely in the breeze too. So like a poplar tree. Speaking of poplars, there's a Fremont cottonwood, which is a type of a poplar. The leaves kind of rustle very nicely in the gentlest of breezes, just like the Fremont cottonwood. In fact, sometimes I think these bottle trees actually rustle even more than the poplars. Very nice. And continuing along the theme of nice, here's something I don't see very often here on the coastal side of San Diego County. Usually you got to go further inland to the foothill chaparral mountains. Sugar sumac or sugar bush right here. Rhus ovata. This is a very close relative of lemonade sumac or lemonade berry, which is Rhus integrifolia. And these two can hybridize with one another. This one's already starting to open up its flower buds. Really tiny white flowers. Usually 5-petaled, very small. But like Rhus integrifolia, it preforms its flower buds the year before. So, pretty cool little canyon, lots of cool little tidbits. I only occasionally find sugar sumac near the ocean. Only occasionally. Usually it's more of a foothill, lower mountain, and then even desert side of the mountains type of plant. And in West Shepherd's Canyon, it's just across the street actually. Right across the street I saw the sign for West Shepherd Canyon. So that'll be another video set, probably relatively soon. Probably going to start heading back now. So I got a lot of video to upload. And there's some more Canary Island pines. The stately little trees. Occasionally they can get pretty tall too. Well, we'll see what I find more on the way back. Alright. So we're starting my return up to the rim of the canyon. So you'll see how I came down. There's the embankment of Dishwater Pond. So now, that's where I start climbing up the canyon back to the park on the other side of those trees. Alright. A lot of little use trails here. I'm going to follow the more obvious one, which is going to lead me up this way, up towards that canyon rim. Gets a little steep up here. Just watch your step. Beautiful canyon. Really glad I came here today. Steep. Up there's where school is, but when we gain the canyon, we're going to turn left and follow the fence back by the ball field. Looking over towards Mission Trails over there. It's like part of North Fortuna Mountain. Here's a handsome little scrub oak. Looks like a Quercus acutitens. Okay, there's school. I'm heading this way, along this use trail. Beautiful canyon up here. Good views. There's good views down there. So, just follow this use trail back. Right through this Cladocalix forest. Be a pretty way to start and end your hike. It's right through this real thicket forest here of sugar gum. Beautiful over here. Like the trees here. You hear how squeaky the trees are. Eucalyptus wood is often kind of brittle. So a lot of times if you're hiking in a windy eucalyptus woodland, you can hear a lot of squeaking in the branches of the trees. So we're just about on the rim of the canyon, close to the end of this video. There's the park. Alright. That was a pretty steep little climb there. Again, more beautiful sugar gum trees. Beautiful eucalyptus Cladocalix. Sweet gum trees change in color. Liquid ambar Tierrasanta Reciphlua. Here's a relative of the eucalyptus, always planted a lot here. Lophostamen confertus, Brisbane box, another Australian native, Queensland, I think northern New South Wales. It's also called brush box in Australia. And here's California sycamore's relative, London plane tree, Latinus hispanica. Quite commonly planted tree here. Pretty much for most of the temperate climates of the world. Of course, here's a California sycamore, Latinus racemosa. This is the Tierrasanta Recreation Park, and this will basically do it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on, oh wait a minute, hold up, before I say peace. California redbud, Cercis occidentalis. Alright, now I'll see you on the next video, so thanks for watching.